Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from our studios here at Kokomlemle in Accra on digital address GA 0993341 on Joy 99.7 FM. It's also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, Digibank. Let's go. Coming up in this edition, government cancels $74 million waste bins contract with a Jospon Group following Joy News investigative story.
The local government ministry has been directed to terminate the contract.
We've got details as Cabinet Committee undertakes a comprehensive review of the sanitation contract. Questions on the whereabouts of Men's Gold owner Nana Appiah Mensah amid reports that he's absconded after jumping bail.
Nana Appiah Mensah has breached his bail condition and absconded. We can't allow those who allegedly dupe people with such impunity to get away with it that easily.
Joy News has been checking with the country's security agencies. We'll give you more later on. And also scores of family members of recent victims of kidnapping in Takoradi Massapart Court as suspect is arraigned. And in sports.
Now, some clubs are complaining about the 20,000 Ghana cedis appearance fee to play in the special competition by the Normalization Committee. They say it's meager. We'll hear from one of them later.
And it's examination time at the KNUST after protests forced a shutdown.
I was able to answer all the questions, and then I was familiar with all the questions because I paid much attention during the lectures.
We have all that and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. And the government of Ghana has cancelled the questionable waste bins contract awarded to the Jospon Group of companies in 2017. Joy News investigative series dubbed Robbing the Assemblies revealed that in a sanitation contract signed with the Jospon Group, a single black polythene bag which sold for less than 1 Ghana cedis was to be sold to the state at 70 Ghana cedis. Head of Joy News' investigative desk, Manasseh Azoria-Winnie, who carried out the nationwide investigation, also revealed that the contract had been inflated. Here's a news desk report on the cancellation.
On November 7, 2016, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development single-sourced 5 companies to supply 1 million waste bins and 900,000 disposable bin liners. Joy News investigations revealed all the 5 companies belonged to the Jospon Group of companies. Our investigation also revealed that the $74 million contract was inflated by at least $31.1 million US. For instance, a piece of bin liner which was sold at the Jospon Group at 98 pesos was being quoted in the contract at $15.6 US or 70 cedis. A visit to some 53 metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies across the 10 regions also revealed that the ministry had procured 150,000 waste bins for the assemblies and could not distribute them at the time it was ordering the 1 million bins. The directive to procure the 1 million waste bins was given from the office of a president. Following Joy News' expose, the Attorney General ordered the police CID to commence criminal investigation into the scandal. But before it concludes the matter, the local government ministry has been directed to terminate the contract. The Jospon Group was yet to supply the bins and no payment has been made yet. A cabinet committee has also been set up to comprehensively review the questionable sanitation contracts revealed in the Robbing the Assemblies documentary. Meanwhile, 1 year and 5 months since the police CID started criminal investigation into the waste bins and fumigation scandals, it is yet to be known if any action will be taken by the Attorney General.
Let's get some reaction to this latest development. We're joined on the line by the Executive Director of the Ghana Integrity Initiative, Lindo Furikwafu. Thank you very much for your time here on the Midday News. Just recently, the GRI called on government to act on this and other matters or other corrupt issues that came up. How did you receive this news by government?
I am so excited, and I think GRI and many other CSOs are very much excited about the news. We are excited because it actually gives some kind of boost or support to anti-corruption fight. And actually, we think that government needs commendation, as well as Joy FM and Manasseh that followed this issue till we got to where we are today. The result is good for the anti-corruption fight. If we actually make allegations, and if government that have the mandate and capacity to do further investigations on the matter, go ahead to carry out their mandate as well, and we get results of this nature, I think it's very good for the anti-corruption fight. And there are many other cases that we raised even before we went on Christmas break, and we are hoping that we are going to get similar responses to them and the issues addressed as well.
So, with this particular robbing the assemblies issue, or this particular contract with Jospon Group, beyond cancelling it, are you expecting government to do anything else?
I think that's the first step, initial step that has to be taken. And you know, when it comes to Jospon, it's not only this contract. There are many other contracts the government has with the group. And so if this is the first that has been taken, and if there are further investigation, criminal investigations ongoing, they have to be completed as well. So as we know, as the AG started work, before AG would even complete or even go further in this work, this action has been taken. And the cancellation is the first step, and we commend government and Manasseh and Joy FM for this, but we are hoping more should be done. And, you know, it's not only with Jospon. If you look at the press release or the press statement that we made before we went on break, there are many, many other issues. And you see, when we leave anti-corruption matters hanging, then people just they lose trust and confidence in government's ability to deal with the issue of corruption. I keep on saying that I would try to rate government, whatever it is. I will always depend on the corruption perception index. And this is another, we are reminding Ghanaians that by the end of this month, the CPI results will be out. So whatever we are doing as a country, we should be mindful that the CPI, which is one of the best international measures of countries' effort at fighting corruption, is going to be judged as a people and as a country. And so government's recommendation for this and the other matters that we raised in our press conference, many of them should also be addressed. We have the 98 million fumigation contract as well. We have the GFC and Putin anti-cheat scandal. We have the Metro Mass transport scandal. All these issues, we want government to bring in some kind of closure of giving the public further information on sale.
We are grateful for your time. That's the Executive Director of the Ghana Integrity Initiative, Linda Ofori Kwafo. Now, 7 customers of gold dealership firm Men's Gold who were arrested for protesting over their locked-up investments in Kumasi have been arraigned today. The demonstrators were picked up after they burned car tires and blocked the Amakum Road leading to Edum. An action the police says was against the Public Order Act. Let's get details from our man on this beat, Prince Apia, for details. Prince, so kindly tell us the atmosphere at the court today, where customers present.
Yeah, MFA, a number of customers are here, not so many of them, about 20 are currently here at the court. The case has not been called yet, but all the 7 are in court. Their customers are here. Leadership of the aggrieved customers are also here. The 2 charges leveled against them yesterday still holds: unlawful assembly and then offensive conduct still hold. MFA.
But you've been speaking to some of these customers. What exactly have they been telling you about this development?
Yeah, for the customers, they are not happy that it has got into this point where they are being dragged to court for what they did yesterday. For them, they believe that they were exercising their constitutional right, and they're expecting that the case will go in their favor, and they will all go home and think about their next line of action. MFR.
Of course, Prince Apia will be following that development in court, and will bring you more in our subsequent bulletins. But the escalation of tensions around the Men's Gold investment crisis is prompting questions regarding the whereabouts of Nana Apia Mensah, popularly known as Nam1. That's because there are now reports at various police stations demanding his arrest for a breach of contract. A key member of the NPP and a close associate of President Akufo-Addo, Gabi Asare Otredako, indicated in a Facebook post that the Men's Gold owner has jumped bail and fled.
I understand the owner of Men's Gold, Nana Apia Mensah, has breached his bail condition and absconded. We can't allow those who allegedly dupe people with such impunity to get away with it that easily. Let's smoke them out, wherever they are, and throw the book at them. Whilst I will not want a peswa of my tax money to be involved with this Ponzi matter, I believe majority of Ghanaians will agree with me that the law must come down heavily on those who use such schemes to destroy the lives of many people.
So that was a full text of Gabi Asariwa-Tridako's Facebook post. Amanda Clinton, who is lawyer for one of the customers of Men's Gold, was also asked about this, and this was her response.
We right now we can't be absolutely certain. He was certainly in South Africa. He spent some time over December in Nigeria, allegedly, because it's probably quite easy to take cars across and come back. So we're not too sure about that.
That's Amanda Clinton, lawyer for one of the customers of Men's Gold. But Joy News has been speaking to sources at the country's security agencies on this matter. We'll give you the full details in our subsequent bulletins. But social psychologist Dr. Riafia Kenten says the unfolding crisis could have serious implications for the mental health of the customers.
Whenever people are frustrated, whether appropriately or wrongly, through their own fault or through someone, they will do anything possible to get what they want. So in this instance, I can say that there's an element of frustration. Their own goal of getting money monthly or saving money for something has been blocked. So you start by probably negotiating, throwing out threat here and there, and at that time, few people will come out because the rest will also think that, it will work out. But if, as time moves on, and they realize that the possibility or the probability of getting it is getting slimmer and slimmer, the more people are likely to join. So we need intervention, and that intervention from Men's Gold itself and probably from the state. I think is the way forward, because if you leave it alone to Men's Gold and the individual, it is not going to be healthy. And usually when these things happen to people, they need support. They need psychological support. They need emotional support, because it's going to be a burden. Some people are going to have sleepless nights. People are going to be stressed out. And if they don't get help, depending on their nature and their personality, some people might even go to depression.
So now you heard the psychologist there, Mr. Riafi. Now, the minority in Parliament is accusing government and the Bank of Ghana of deliberately collapsing banks perceived to be owned by persons sympathetic to the opposition NDC. A statement signed by minority spokesperson on finance, Kasiola Tuforsen, alleges that the former finance minister, Dr. Kwabena Dufo, whose Unibank had its license revoked last year, was targeted by government due to his affiliation with the NDC. My colleague Joseph Akable has a copy of the statement and joins me in the studio. So, Joseph, what exactly are the concerns of the minority?
Well, they say that the governor had stated categorically that the funds used to acquire Heritage Bank's license were derived from contracts awarded to Mr. Agungu. Now, they're going to make the point that since when did it become a crime to use earnings from one type of business to engage in another? They go on to say that they find it very disappointing and unfair. So they read, a part of the statement reads, it is rather unfortunate that a whole central bank governor will act in such a prejudicial manner and unjust based on presumptions that are considered prima facie. They go on to say that this blows the lid of the unfair targeting of investors such as Dr. Kwabena Dufo because of their affiliation with the NDC.
Okay, so they also mentioned GN Bank. Tell us more about that.
They asked a number of questions. The first is that what circumstances led to the capitalization of Prudential Bank and Universal Merchant Bank under the current Ghana Amalgamated Trust. They say that why was Dr. Indum's GN Bank not recapitalized despite the huge sums of money GN Bank is owed by government? And lastly, why didn't GN Bank benefit from the GATT but was rather downgraded to a savings and loan company?
And they are making some demands?
Yes, the first is they are asking the Ministry of Finance and Bank of Ghana to publish the guidelines if there is one available for public knowledge. The second being that they want government to stop the victimization as implied by the governor.
Joseph, thank you. Well, second Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Elsie Awaji, was yesterday asked directly by host of the Super Morning Show, Daniel Dati, about such concerns that they are targeting banks. She insisted that cannot be accurate.
We have verified the facts and the records available to us, and we're standing on firm ground when we say the things we've said in our press release.
We find persons within saying that, look, they are being targeted, the Bank of Ghana is being selective.
What would be the basis of that allegation, of that claim? I mean, we have...
Heritage, for instance, has named something saying that you're stating falsehood, which you dispute, of course, but that's their position.
I did dispute that. And people are well within their rights to dispute actions of the central bank and dispute facts. In the end, there are processes, for confirming who's right and who's wrong. And I would encourage people to pursue those.
You heard that the second deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana in that interview with Daniel Dazi. Now let's head to Takrade because dozens of family members of girls kidnapped recently in the Western Regional Capital have massed up at the court as a key suspect is arraigned today. At least 7 women have so far gone missing. Correspondent Ina Thalia Kwansa is there for us. Ina, so what happened in court today?
Yes, so today in court at the Takrade District Court, Market Circle, hundreds of residents within the metropolis flooded the court. And there were lots of them waiting to see who the suspected kidnapper is. And when the hearing proceeded, he was charged with he was given 3 charges. That is intentionally causing unlawful damage by breaking iron rods. And he pleaded not guilty. And he was also charged with resisting arrest on the 3rd of January when police officers went to his hideout after he escaped from cell to arrest him. He also pleaded not guilty. And then in court, they brought the dress and a scarf of a young lady who is 15 years, who has also been kidnapped. She's one of the victims by name Priscilla Kwanche. He said he doesn't know anything about that. But the police prosecutor, inspector himself, said these dresses were found at his hideout. Upon several interrogations, the suspect, Samuel Wilson Udesek, said he is not guilty. So, police prosecutor pleaded with his lordship, Michael, to adjourn the case to the 16th of January.
Okay. So, Ina, in all this, do we know the whereabouts of these girls?
He has not still shown the police where the whereabouts of these girls are. According to the police, he led them to Kaswa, where he said he had some of his accomplices there, but when they got there, they didn't find anything. So now they are still waiting and they are still searching for the whereabouts of these girls.
We hope they are found very soon. That's Ina Thalia Kwansa, our Western Regional correspondent. Now, a new research talks about the chances of ex-President John Dramani Mahama and how he can easily win the 2020 elections. But right now, let's go to Teshi because Joy News is learning that the 3 assemblymen of the Krowo Municipal Assembly who were arrested yesterday and held overnight have been transferred to the Accra Regional Police Headquarters. The 3 were allegedly arrested over the destruction of some billboards within the municipality. But some youth within the constituency believe the arrest was part of a grand scheme to have the president's nominee for MCE confirmed after 2 failed attempts. NDC chairman for the Krowo constituency, Chilanda Bote, tells Joy News the 3 are being processed for court. Meanwhile, the MCE nominee has been confirmed this morning. My colleague Ernest Menu has been following this and joins me on the line with more. Ernest, we understand the presiding member who is supposed to summon assembly members for the election was himself not present?
Absolutely, MFR. The presiding officer, Romeo Saf, was not present at those elections, and we know that 3 were arrested yesterday. Now there are 15 members of the assembly. 3 others also did not show up at the election. So there were only 9 at the elections today, this morning.
Okay, so 9. And what exactly were the results?
So all nine voted yes to confirm the nomination of Joshua Bote as MC for the Krowo Municipal Assembly. Of course, the other assembly members we know that are not in support of the nomination of Joshua Bote. One of them I spoke to this morning said he drove past the venue for the elections this morning, which is the Nat Hall at Teshinungwa Estate, and he saw very heavy security presence there. He was told that he tells me that he got wind that he could be arrested, and so he had not come out of his car. He just drove past the place and proceeded to his office this morning. So that's the latest as far as the election is concerned.
We can now hear from Joshua Bote, the MCE elect.
Let me first congratulate His Excellency the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So really imposing a lot of confidence in me because we went 2, 3, 4 times and he still maintained that I was the choice for the MCE. So I really have to thank him, my minister and MP, Honorable Lisa Olafolukwe, the regional minister, and all who has really helped to just see me through. I thank all of them. That's the first thing.
And talking about the fact that you had to go through this 3 times, this is your 3rd attempt and you have been successful. Yeah. But I understand that some of the assembly members were not present.
It's present and voting. That's all.
Only 9 out of the 15 were present.
That is all. It's present and voting. So if 3 people come and they vote, that is all.
You heard the MC-elect Joshua Bote. Now, more than half of Ghanaians say corruption is rife under the 2-year term of the President Akufo-Addo-led government. In a survey by the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana on voter perception of 2 years of the NPP government, 88.4% said yes, there is corruption. Maxwell Agbagba has details. Maxwell, give us the details of this latest findings.
Well, for these findings, 5,000 people were actually interviewed across the 10 regions of Ghana in a total of 15 municipal, metropolitan, and district assemblies. For the respondents, 55.9% were actually males with 41.6% females. Now, the interesting thing about this research is that about a little over 80% of Ghanaians, those sampled, actually lauded the free senior high school program by the new Patriotic Party, but they disliked an aspect of that program, which is the double track system. 45.5% actually disagreed and said that although the free senior high school is good, they think that the double track system was fraught with a lot of challenges. And so perverse, the double track system topped some of the government social programs listed. It topped as one of the most disliked programs. The second one was government's anti-Galamsey fight, which was also described as one of the most disliked government programs. Now, the Political Science Department has also been trying to find out from Ghanaians who they would vote for should elections be held today. Now, President Akufo-Addo, when that was done, President Akufo-Addo polled 49.6% of the total number of people sampled, and then President Mahama had 33.3%.
You heard Maxwell Agbagba with the latest from this findings from the University of Ghana. Now, you're still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Our top stories in this package. Government cancels $74 million waste bins contract with the Jospon Group following Joy News investigative story. And there are still questions on the whereabouts of Men's Gold owner Nanapia Mensah amid reports that he's absconded after jumping bail. When we return from the break, it's examination time at the KNUST after protests forced a shutdown.
I was able to answer all the questions, and then I was familiar with all the questions because I paid much attention during the lectures.
And later, how Ghana is helping efforts to rebuild war-torn Somalia.
There used to be a well-developed police force in Somalia. You know, it was a war that disintegrated, you know, the police.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. Time now for sports. Ridwan.
Yes, MFA, now competitive football is expected to return in the country later this month after the Normalization Committee fashioned out a special tournament for clubs in the Premier and Division 1 leagues. The format and modalities were revealed yesterday to all 64 clubs, including a 20,000 Ghana Cedi appearance fee for each. But not all involved are happy. Let's hear from Aduana Stars Chief Executive Albert Kome.
You just do the mathematics around it, you can realize that it's the whole story. Because if I'm going to move around for 8 matches and I'm getting $20,000, you and I know that it's meager when it comes in terms of Aduana. We have to call the players, pay salaries, pay certain administrative chest, and then the transportation in and out and camping situations, like traveling costs and that kind of thing. So for me, I would say that I wasn't impressed, but they've given us the idea. It's left with me to also go and share with our other officers and see work through about it, whether it is feasible.
You heard Albert Kome, his chief executive for Aduana Stars Football Club. That's your sports for the afternoon, MFA.
Now, government will soon reduce the number of senior high schools running the double track system. The Ghana Education Service says government is working to complete many Get Fund projects to take in more students. There's concern about the inconvenience created by senior high school students having different academic calendars. But Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Education Service, Cassandra Chumampofo, explains the situation will soon improve. She spoke with Roland Walker on the AM show.
I am very hopeful that by the time we even get to September, a lot of the schools would have fallen off the double track. Why? Because some of the schools have uncompleted projects, of which government, the ministry is, working hard to
is it ministry
complete.
projects or Get Fund projects?
Well, we have Get Fund projects. We also have GOG projects and all of that. And the ministry is working hard to complete these buildings. And so if any uncompleted Get Fund and it's being completed between now and September, it means that if we are able to expand our space, we will be able to go off the double track, even for the first years and all.
You heard that the PR of the Ghana Education Service, Cassandra Chum Ampofo. It's examination time at the KNUST following the recent student protest that prompted a shutdown of the university and a disruption of the academic calendar. Love FM's Mohammed Nuruddin was on campus to interact with some students, and his report is read to you.
Students are either leaving the examination hall after a paper or are entering to have their turn. This is an exercise they should have undertaken before Christmas break, but for unforeseen happenings. It is unclear how the change in exam timetable affected students. Gabriel Donko is a third-year BSc Quantity Surveying student who has just finished his paper.
We were given the opportunity to go home, and then I think the serious ones were able to study. But then I know of some people that stayed behind. It cost us our celebrating Christmas. We were thinking about the exams we write and all those things.
Because I'm a Muslim and I also decided not to go home because I know when I go home I cannot learn. So therefore I stayed on campus and I studied my books, and I think it's an individual problem.
The story is different for first-year BSc Social Work student Richmond Boachi Yadom.
It will affect our performance in our exams. Me particularly, I went home to celebrate the Christmas, and some stay, but I went home for the Christmas Eve. So it will affect my performance. I think will not be fresh up.
Some students have prepared enough for the battle, whilst others made little to boost their chances.
I wrote my first paper today, and nature of social work. I was able to answer all the questions, and then I was familiar with all the questions because I paid much attention during the lectures, and then it was cool for me. I was okay with it.
The university would go for another break on January 19 and resume in 10 days for the second semester of the academic year. Adai Emmanuel, however, wishes lectures could continue after the semester exams because 10 days for him are just not enough for the break.
Now, the Forestry Commission says personnel of the Youth in Afforestation Program will from this month have the allowances paid. It follows last month's protest at the Commission's offices by personnel over delayed allowances covering 8 months. Chief Executive Kojo Owusu-Efriye says the Commission owes its workers for 3 months.
We have heard people talk about the fact that we are owing them 6 months arrears. It is not so. Not all of them began the job at the same time. Some began in April, others in May. Here, especially and elsewhere, it was June, July that we employed them. And if we employ somebody in, say, July, August, September, October, November, and December, you certainly cannot owe the person 8 months or 6 months, as they say. So it is true that some of them, there are areas to be paid. But I'm happy that the Minister of Finance gave us some 2 months, arrears to clear some of the outstanding allowances that we ought to pay. We've managed to pay up to in August, in January. The minister had assured me to give me some more support to pay.
You heard that Kojo Owusu-Efriye, the Chief Executive of the Forestry Commission. Mapitso Sibidi joins me with what's trending on social media. But before we go to her, it's a war that's killed more than 500,000 people. The Somali war has left almost every institution in shambles and requiring urgent rebuilding. The Ghana Police Service is one of the institutions helping in the restoration of the once beautiful African country. As part of the AU mission in the East African country, the Ghana Police Service has been involved in training of the new police force in Somalia. Joy News' Justice Beidou traveled there, embedded with the AMISOM police force, to find out how their work is shaping a new Somalia.
On the outskirts of the Somali town of Joha, some of the country's young people have come to be enrolled into a new police service. 20 years of civil war has brought nearly all institutions here on their knees. Everything is starting from the scratch. The weather is extremely dry and dusty. Faces here show anxiety, but the same people look upbeat.
It's a fresh start for many young Somalis wanting to help their country rise back from the rubble and rebuild. In this AMISOM yard, they come to get tested, screened medically, and passed fit to join the new Somali police force.
There used to be a well-developed police force in Somalia. It was a war that disintegrated, the police. So Somalia is now a federal country, with 5 member states. So each member state has to have its own state police. We are now trying to establish the state police here. We've reorganized the police, been re-established. They are performing their duties anyway with our support, but they are delivering.
Chief Superintendent Paul Kisi Frimpong is the Ghanaian contingent commander and deputy coordinator for AMISOM Police.
For Somalia, we are tired for civil war.
Amongst the people here today is Abdul Somed, himself a victim of war who has lost both parents in the last 10 years.
The reason why the most of people joining the police is that, Somalia has been a civil war since 1991. So they want to join the police. They want to bring their community.
Justice Bedu's report. And men's gold is trending.
At number 1, yes, Adna Seal Deeg says, right now, sake of hashtag men's gold, things make hard for myself, for my side. And at Jacob Konedi1 says, Ghana, the only country where victims are mocked and criminals walk freely, hashtag men's gold. And at Just Nana Ama says, so folks actually believe all the people who believed in hashtag men's gold were motivated by greed. First, I'm struck by the lack of compassion, and I also cannot believe people are overlooking the regulatory failure that led to this mess. Hashtag men's gold.
Thank you very much, Mapito. And that's how we end today's edition of the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Do log on now. I am MFA Apau. Have a good afternoon.